What are they doing, Scott? Assassin's Creed Shadows confirms removal of popular feature. Derek Nichols over at Game Rant explains. Get ready, Scott, because I'm a little confused why they would do
Oh,
this.
what a hook of a headline. That really caught my attention. I go, oh no, what are they doing?
Absolutely. Ubisoft confirms that Assassin's Creed Shadows is ditching social stealth. Gameplay mechanic that has been a large part of most games. A large part, Scott. Large part of most games in the franchise since it began. As expected.
Even part of the trailers.
Yeah, right? Assassin's Creed Shadows got plenty of time in the spotlight this month, as it was featured in both the Xbox Game Showcase and, well, as, of course, Ubisoft Forward. Why wouldn't it be? Assassin's Creed Shadows takes cues from Ubisoft Quebec's 2015 game, where players can pick between two different protagonists, each one with their own specific playstyle. Fans saw the perspective on full display through a deep dive gameplay trailer featuring both characters and what they bring to the table. Assassin's Creed Shadows takes on the historical character Yasuke and is more aligned with what they would call a bruiser, Scott. I think that's safe to say. And with the samurai opting to take more a direct and combat heavy approach to solve most problems. On the other hand, Noe, representing the shinobi and relies heavily on sneaking and stealthing their way through the levels. There's my character, dude. That's the way I'm going right there. No way. I'm in. That's it. I'm all stealth. Yasuke. Sorry, dude. You're on your own.
Yeah, he is kind of relegated to my back end now because these guys are just, I want that stealth experience. But this is interesting because it's highlighting a lot of changes that are going to happen in stealth, which is what Ubisoft has kind of already told us. But
yeah,
as to the actual details of that, this is more illuminating.
Well done. However, Ubisoft has confirmed that one stealth gameplay mechanic is not going to be available, leaving longtime fans a bit upset. Following the Ubisoft Forward reveal, the studio clarified that the social stealth mechanic will not be featured in Assassin's Creed Shadows. In previous games, players could blend in with crowds or groups, seemingly becoming invisible to patrolling guards. While it wouldn't make sense for a character like Yasuke, who Ubisoft says is unable to blend in at all, Noe won't be able to utilize it either. Instead, Noe is unnoticeable and largely invisible by military NPCs in the open world as long as she doesn't do anything that draws attention, such as climbing a building or performing any illegal actions like drawing her sword. God, I can see where it's coming in though, right? Part of me understands this.
Well, right there, it kind of does, it tells me, at least, that there is social stealth, but it's not the same mechanic that we're used to. Sure. Because Yasuke would never blend in, so they just can't even have that be an option, which is silly. But the idea of, okay, as long as I just remain low-key and don't do anything very obvious, that stealth is still there. And that's the most important detail that saves that headline for me.
Absolutely. While social stealth has been a big part of the franchise since the first game in 2007, Scott. Dude, I don't think there's a game I've missed at this point for Assassin's Creed. Huge fan, right? It's always been stealth.
Well,
We've seen it vary over the years, but Rogue. So I've played it. I just haven't finished it. That's the little hiccup there. And I just, man, there's 24 hours in a day. I have a hard time going back. But it certainly isn't. It certainly isn't the only stealth option available to players. As the gameplay demo showed, Noe certainly has a number of options when infiltrating locations, like hiding in grass, underwater, or the darkened areas. In fact, Assassin's Creed Shadows seemingly takes a bit of inspiration from Ubisoft's other big stealth action franchise. Pause. Dramatic pause. Splinter Cell! Dude, where's Splinter Cell? Anyways, as featured, a user interface displaying how much the character is exposed from the light sources. Thanks to a new global illumination system in Assassin's Creed Shadows, dude, it's so cool. Players can also manipulate the lighting in their area by taking out torches or other sources of illumination to add more darkness, making it much harder to be spotted by enemies. And, Scott, you can actually go prone.
Yeah, so that's going to be changing. As much as they want to tweak the social stealth elements of this is in service of a real, actual hardcore stealth experience.
Yes.
I never really looked at the older stealth or the other Assassin's Creed games as being inherently stealth games. They kind of are by name, and you kind of can play it that way. But this seems like this is going to be the way to play it. Unless you're Yasuke, you just kick the door in.
Yeah, Yasuke is not my guy. I'm sorry. I'm going Noe all the way. Dude, I'm such a stealth guy. I'm sure there's going to be, the two protagonists, obviously, like, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, right? You had Evie and Jacob Fry, brother, sister, in that one. And the way they're supposed to play off of each other. But as you mentioned off camera, you can really do it either way. You can play as Jacob and go stealth if you wanted, or you can go as Evie, who is technically supposed to be more stealth. How they played her as more stealth was by the gear she wore. That was it. Otherwise, you can still play it like stealthy, right?
I can't remember if one had access to the cane sword and the other did not, but that's the that was the big important device for me to use during that game. It had just a certain swagger to it, but
yeah, Evie can go invisible.
Oh, okay, that is a very strong something I had slipped the mind. I played those games a long time ago now, probably almost a decade, but I'm thinking, how are they going to play off each other? This is the big question mark in my mind is, are we going to be able to switch just back and forth between the two characters at will? Yeah. Is this going to be something that you'll have to begin the mission as Naoe or as Yasuke, but you can't switch in the middle? Or, and this is a big or, is this going to be like GTA, where I can on the fly switch? Because that would be, just think about the options that would open up. I can make a distraction at the door as Yasuke, and then while he's fighting off the guards, I switch over to Naoe and sneak through the back door. And that opens up so many more gameplay elements that I don't know. I feel like it's going to hurt my impression of the game, actually, if we don't get something like that. I'm curious to see. I think we'll definitely have missions where we're forced to play one over the other, just like we did with story-wise. Yeah, exactly, right. Just the way the story plays out, they want you to play Yasuke. They want you to understand his story. They also want you to understand Noe's story and go that way too, right? But so it goes back and forth between the two dynamics. What seems to be enemies at the beginning come together for one cause, right? I'm like, all right, cool. We'll see how this plays out. But dude, what if you're Noe and kind of like all hell breaks loose? And then you call in Yasuke, right? And he just takes over. And you can come in and just swing with that club of his and just demolish people. Even like a Brotherhood situation where, you could just call him in for backup. That would be absolutely acceptable for me. Man,
I can't wait to get more time with this game. I can't wait to get hands-on. November, I believe, is when we're getting it. Is that right? November 15th, I want to say, rings the bell. They're always in around that November time frame for Assassin's Creed, so to me, it makes sense. Dude, Ubisoft, I think, is lining up for a pretty good year with Outlaws and then getting into Assassin's Creed. I do appreciate the gap in between, too, because I think Outlaws is going to be pretty big. So to get that one handled and then get into Assassin's Creed, one of my favorite franchises of all time, and have it such a stealth element, dude, I finally feel like we're going to get a touch of that Tenchu that we've been missing over the decades.
Oh, I really hope so. There's one remaining thing to be seen, and that's if we can switch between these two characters at will or call in one for backup. What does that do for multiplayer? Is that going to be something that comes on down the line? I would love to speak to anybody from Ubisoft about this, because
where is it?
I bet they're afraid of trying multiplayer after Unity and the issues that had at first, but it would be so beautiful if that comes on down the line in a DLC. I'm thinking of Ghost of Tsushima, but
sure. Yeah, that makes sense too, right? I don't think we'll get DLC in this case. Well, we might get DLC. I don't think we'll get multiplayer. But I mean, no. I think they're done with multiplayer until they're ready to launch the actual multiplayer game that they're working on currently. And I'm very curious to see what that looks like as well. But there's going to be a lot more Assassin's Creed on the way. Stick around. It's ITGTV.com.